Gary Cardone is back on the Robin Seyr podcast, and he's saying 75 trillion US dollars are flowing into Bitcoin because of the new generations. Or as he says, they won't buy silver, dude. We're also talking about that idea that Bitcoin is the best business you could possibly be in, and why the heck Bitcoin is still under 100,000 US dollars. It's crazy for us. So enjoy.
It's coming at a good time. I think Bitcoin's getting ready to do its little thing, its little dance that it always does every 2 or 3 years.
I love that. Yeah, let's just directly get started with that. How has Bitcoin 2025 been, and what do you kind of expect for 2026? And yeah, what do you kind of see? I also saw that you were talking in the last debate about Bitcoin is the best business in the world. So I think this is also a topic and a theme that you're currently on. So like, what are your thoughts for Bitcoin in 2026?
Yeah, so I love the idea of Bitcoin as a business. I don't know why people don't get this, but it's not a novel idea by me. I've been saying this for some time, but I think I'm articulating it in a different way. For 2026, I look at gold and silver, and although the Bitcoin people want to talk about Bitcoin being the superior product, Bitcoin is a really, 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 really tiny market. I just want to emphasize this again. Bitcoin is a really, 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 really tiny market, okay? And compared to all the other markets, it is literally not literally, but figuratively a wounded mosquito in a 1,000-mile hurricane in size, okay? And I think the Bitcoin community makes a little bit too much up about where they fit in the world system, and they're tiny. And so what are we seeing? We're seeing, and I think that's the good news, by the way. I don't think you want to be the top dog on the chart. Top dogs on the chart always end up being the poorest performers, man. Like, I want to be the late arrival, right? So we have gold doing something it hasn't done in 1,000 years. Silver is outperforming gold. And it makes total sense to me that you would have old money, government money, pension money, secure money, all moving to what they know and they have known for decades and centuries, maybe not centuries, but you get my point. And that old money wouldn't first move to Bitcoin, and that gold and silver are telling us the system is broken. People are moving to assets that they know can't be defunct, debased, diluted. Like, if I order some, Kool-Aid or some tea, I'd like some concentrated tea. I don't want a diluted glass of tea that's been watered down 37,000 times. So to me, Bitcoin is performing exceptionally well. We haven't had the big drawdown that everyone was expecting. We had a 36% drawdown off 126. I have a rule: when it starts getting to 20+% drawdowns, I start looking at deploying again. And it went to 30, 35. So, a friend of mine who's probably shouldn't be telling his family that they should buy Bitcoin because he doesn't probably know enough about the industry yet, but he put a meme up that he was going to his family's houses, who he convinced 4 months ago to buy $126,000 Bitcoin, and he was terrified. And I'm like, dude, all you got to do is show him the charts, okay? Anyone that bought anything off $69,000 4 years ago is in the money, okay? Like, I think a 30% return off 69,000, you would have had to be the idiot to buy the 69,000, that one little Bitcoin that traded there. And you would be doing really well 3 years later. Okay. You'd be at 96,000, and most investors, that's a 10% return a year, dude. That's awesome. Okay. And you fucked up. You really messed up, right? You didn't keep buying. All you did was buy the very top. And I'm convinced that at 126 minus 30%, If I can buy Bitcoin at that level, or if I can buy it at $69,000 at a 30% discount when it just hit a high, I'm going to do extremely well unless I'm judging my performance by a minute or hourly chart, which I don't know anybody that got extremely wealthy looking at minute charts or daily charts. Maybe dailies, but not hourly charts. So the money that's coming in here, Robin, one, it's larger than all the money in the first 13 years of Bitcoin's history. All the money that flowed into Bitcoin's history has been massively surpassed in volume terms and quality. I would actually build the case. It's better quality money. No offense to the old guys, but to the OGs, but it is better quality, has deeper roots. It doesn't get liquidated as easily, and it's extremely well thought out. And that's, I think, what we're seeing here. We're seeing a slow movement of diversification away from other assets and into Bitcoin, and/or we're seeing fresh money move into Bitcoin that is coming out of those distribution models of bonds, real estates, private equity sales. And there's a lot of really good reasons why we have suffered on price here in the last 6 months. Very logical reasons. Most of those, I think, were tax driven. And they all came through the SBRs, and everybody tried to get clever on the SBRs, and they fucked up the Bitcoin position. So I'm as bullish as I was. When was the first time I was on your show? 2 years ago, 3 years ago? I'm probably more bullish today than I was. And I've raised my goal of how much Bitcoin I want to obtain. And by the way, I am absolutely shocked that I'm still able to buy it at 5 digits. This is a blessing for me, man. Like, I hope it goes to 57. I mean, literally would love it to go to 57 again, to test that. What was that? That was a 200-day moving average. I would love to see 57 because I could double my position, man. When I met you, my goal was to buy 1,000 Bitcoin. My goal is now to buy 1,500 Bitcoin. Because I didn't know, I thought it was going to run here. I'm like, shit, I won't be able to pick up 1,500. The only thing I'm going to be, if I get to 1,000 under 100 grand, I'm going to be doing awesome. I'm going to be doing absolutely awesome. Now, the reason I bring the volume up, and then I'll be quiet and you can ask me questions or make comments, but the reason I bring the volume up is everyone, you're younger than me by a couple of years, and you're going to, I've heard your genre, your generation go, well, dude, you're rich. I mean, it's easy for you. Hey, dude, I'm trying to buy 500 more Bitcoin. So most people your age are sitting there going, hey, I need to buy 1 Bitcoin. Awesome. I need to buy 500. So who's probably going to accomplish their goal? You're going to accomplish your goal before I do, dude. Come on. Like, it's not like I have stacks of money sitting. These paintings aren't flying off the wall for 100 grand each, allowing me to buy 500 Bitcoin. Okay. By the way, I only have 250 of these paintings. So I'd have to produce more paintings, assuming I could oversell them, overprice them. You see what I'm saying is that rich people do not have an advantage over somebody just buying Bitcoin. We have the same, like, I'm tapped, dude. I got to go create something now. So I just want to say that don't look at really rich people and go, oh, wow, look at their allocation. They're cool. But when they say, hey, I'm still doing more, that's really important for you to hear, I think. I've got a little lawnmower guy out here, so I'm going to mute while you can make fun of me.
I love it, honestly. I did not know you're painting paintings, like you're selling the paintings that you're painting yourself.
I'm not selling them. I have no interest, really. I don't even want to confute, but I am painting a lot, and I'm getting people are starting to go, hey, can I buy your paintings? I'm like, I don't really want to complicate the painting part. The painting part for me, I'm trying to prove that someone at any age can learn anything they want and become really great at it without reading a book. That all you have to do is go do something. And it could be, okay, I'm going to learn how to use a shovel. If you use a shovel for 10,000 hours, you're going to become a master shoveler. And so I'm just doing the art because my my career has been, my successful actions have been do more than anyone else does, and you will be great at it. And like, people are complaining too much and thinking about things. Action is superior to thinking, man. After I've thought a little bit, I need to move into action. So that's why I get to the 500 Bitcoin. It creates a game for me, right? I go, oh, wow, shit, man. And if I don't get there and I only get to 400 extra, wow, pretty cool. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of art, and I have learned a lot from doing something I don't know anything about.
Love that. There's a couple of things that stood out to me. The first thing, I think this is very true. You want to be early in something. Like if we are already huge as a Bitcoin industry, it would be not as attractive to be in it in the first place. Bitcoin with a CAGR of what I think the last 10 years we had like 60 or 70% CAGR. It's a lot more attractive than Bitcoin at a, I don't know, 5 or 10% CAGR. And even if you only have like 30 or 40% CAGR in the next couple of 10 years or 20 years, that's still huge. Like, as you said, like 10, 20% doing every year. That's freaking awesome already. And I think this resonates a lot with you. I said that in a recent podcast, actually. People being annoyed of like, oh, I don't have enough, like Bitcoin is not going up enough. Bitcoin is not doing enough like CAGR. I always say to them, I don't think that you need an asset that goes up faster. I think you need more income. I think your problem is like you need to up your income skills. You need to up your like however you get to more money skills, and not where to park the money, because Bitcoin is not here to like print money for you. It's here to like park your money and like have a decent CAGR over the long run. Now 30% is already awesome. 40 is awesome. If that's not enough, I think you have more an income problem and not like a savings problem.
Totally agree. I mean, I assume the CAGR of Bitcoin would be 12%. At 12%, you put all your money in that trade, okay? If it's a safe 12%, you double your money every 6.5 years at 12%. So you're what, 27, 33, 39, you've quadded your money at 12%? Come on, okay? So you're 37 years old, and you're like, okay, I saw a 34-year-old woman the other day. I said, how would you like to be at 46 years old or 45? You can do this to any man on the planet. Like you guys talk about how screwed up the guys are. Cool. Buy Bitcoin, dude. Hodl the shit out of it. Keep buying Bitcoin. Create something. Buy some more Bitcoin, and you'll be able to tell everybody to fuck off. Like, but you have to think about it in 10-year terms. You can't think about it in, oh, I'm going to make all the money in 3 months. No one makes the money in 3 months, man. Drug dealers do that. That's it. Or maybe OnlyFans. You and I ain't going to make the OnlyFans thing, I don't think. Maybe you will.
I won't.
There might be a market for old guys, I don't know. Maybe there is a market for old guys. I could pretend to be my brother, charge extra.
Grant Cardone's OnlyFans has potential to go viral.
It does.
I love that. I always love where our conversations go. I think this. I have this. I always say that when people want to try to buy Bitcoin, don't even try to enter Bitcoin if your time horizon is not at least 2 cycles, like 8 years. This is the minimum amount of time that I always say you have to be in Bitcoin. Funny enough, I myself haven't had 8 years. I'm now in my 6th year or so. Like, I'm coming close to my 8th year in Bitcoin, but I'm already seeing the things that Bitcoin allowed me to do. I mean, Bitcoin was one of the major reasons why I was able to quit the job and just like go in, because I had the safety of like having a stack and not suffering the first month that there's no money. And so it will change your life beyond just like, I have now, instead of losing 10%, I'm gaining 10% of purchasing power every year, which is like a game changer for young people, especially, as you said, like if you can start with like 20, 25, 30 years old, but even if you are 45 years old and let's assume you have like 40, 50 years to live, like that's a lot of time. You need a lot of money, and you might not want to work till you're like 80 years old.
Yeah, agreed, man. I mean, I think the time is like somebody that's 42 has an edge on me. Now, you may not have an edge on my confidence, and like I'm, because I've done this so many times, my confidence level is up. By the way, I would challenge that you did not. You getting any feedback on noise, or you good?
Oh yeah, there's a little bit of feedback from the lawnmower, but it's fine. Like I can probably get it out later.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll reduce the background noise. But you said why am I frozen up here? You said something about that you had a stack and you were able to do this, right? I don't think your stack was big enough for you to make the jump into this. You hated what you were doing and you fell in love with Bitcoin, and you like, you know what? I'm going to challenge my life and I'm going to go do something I really love. And now you're doing it, and you continue to do it, and you consistently do it, and you got a great podcast. So for the audience, if you did do it the way you said it, cool. But I don't think that's what you did. You did not have a stack big enough to take that leap. Okay.
No, I wasn't retired. So like I didn't have a stack where I was like, I can live the rest of my life. But I had something where I'm like, I can live a couple of months from that and not be suffering. Like I'm not out on the streets on month 2.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's not a big stack. So you came into this space because you wanted to, and look at what you've done, dude. You had to jump off that bridge, get away from that little pension program, quit working for the company in Europe that, providing you with little blankets and fake comfort with a bunch of people you don't even like, and you jumped into your own deal, and now you're enjoying your life, and you own some Bitcoin. To me, enjoying your life and doing what you want to do is far more important than how much Bitcoin you have. I know people that have a lot of Bitcoin, and like, you don't want to be like them. They're angry. They don't know how they got rich. Their hubris is off the map. And they're still lonely. Nothing's fixed anything. They don't have a purpose. You have a purpose, dude. The Robin Seyr podcast show. You're a good guy. You've met a lot of people, and that's an awesome life. To me, people go, hey, are you late? And I'm like, are you late? You got to be kidding me. All those other people were so early. At $100,000, I mean, I have a lot of friends that own Bitcoin, a lot of Bitcoin at $300, okay? And some of them at $30. It's really ridiculous, okay? It's stupid. And that is part of the problem with Bitcoin. You have too many $30 holders with zero incentive to do anything. And that's why the price has to move to get those. And the SBRs have done a really good job of getting the parasites, that hodler to sell. Okay. He had a little tax advantage. And anyway, I think that's a whole story, that the reason we're at 88,000 is because you've had a lot of whales sell a lot of Bitcoin. And the ironic thing is they've all done they have gotten hammered, dude. Can you imagine moving into MiCA with $11 million of Bitcoin at 116, and now you're at 42 cents? That was a great trade. Okay. That was just brilliant for a tax play. So I don't think I think the people that bought $310,000 Bitcoin were taking on massive, massive risk. Where today I look at 90 grand and go, wow, it's 9x from 10. And I have Bank of America and Jamie Dimon about to wet their pants because they're terrified. They're oligopoly. I'll pay you 2% on your money, $7 trillion sitting in bank accounts, getting raped and pillaged every day. And they're like, hey man, if you put out stable coins, then we're not going to be able to make we're not going to be able to abuse our customers. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Okay, there's some competition now. That we need competition in the finance industry. There's nothing wrong with that Bank of America and JP Morgan. I'm sure you guys can figure out how to compete without taking advantage of your customers. At the expense of my customers, I take care of my shareholders. This is the new paradigm for Wall Street. I don't care about my customers, McDonald's, Popeye's Fried Chicken, Cracker Barrel. I will poison my customers so that I can show my shareholders, who I have a legal responsibility to, that their stock price is going to go up for 90 days. That is not sustainable. None of you companies are going to survive abusing your customers for the benefit of the shareholders. And the shareholders are idiots. Okay? And I mean, this is going to happen big pharma. It's going to happen in big food. Oh, wow, big pharma and big food. It's probably going to happen in agriculture because they're poisoning the plant to benefit shareholders. They're poisoning human beings, the very customers that consume this stuff. Americans can only get so fat, dude. Okay? Until they then introduce a product called Ozempic, and then they get Oprah on there. Hey, it's a gene, man. You're going to have to take Ozempic. I think we're coming to a point where humanity is basically going to really dig their heels in and say, no, stop it. You're so abusive at this point. I can't think of a public company that's not being abusive right now. That is very, very positive for Bitcoin. If you have 3% of the population revolt, we win the game, dude. 3% of the population revolts in any country, you win the game. 50-50. Most people are 50-50, right? They're not going to get off their box. You just need 3% of the people like me that are massive disruptors. We're angry. We don't think it's fair. I'm angry because it's not fair, JP Morgan. Visa, MasterCard, pick on someone your own size. Okay? Bank of America, stop abusing my sister, dude. She's only got $300 grand in the bank. Come hammer me. I called my bank up this year, like I do every year, December the 30th. Well, I sent him an email to the president. Wipe every one of my fees, dude. I might have 8 or 9 different bank accounts. Every fee gets wiped at the end of the year. All the fees, right? That's what they do for rich people. Now, the rich people have to call them, but it's not fair that they don't do that for you, okay? It's not fair that they charge trillions of fees, these little hidden fees, 3 cents here, 8 cents there. They hold on to your money. There's $7 trillion sitting in cash accounts and money markets. That all should move to STRC or Bitcoin products or ETFs. All of it should move to that. All of it, man. So to me, it's that's why I really like the Clarity Bill, and I really like what Coinbase did, which was dig their heels in. You know they're right when Brad Garlinghouse responds and goes, we were going to capitulate. No, this is very good. You do not want a bad bill for Bitcoin and crypto. And you want a good bill, okay? A bill that puts the digital banking system on the same level playing field as the legacy banks, who, by the way, have all the distribution. They have all the advantage of 100 years. They have all the advantage of migration issues. What is a migration issue? It's a guy like me moving off the system. And the core Bitcoiners are all like, hey, you're not a real Bitcoiner because you're still in the system. Dude, I've been in the system a long time. Migrating out of the system for me is extremely complex. It is not touch a button. I must have more than you do because you just do not understand. You guys have done a really, really poor job of understanding people like me. And this flood of people like me is going to take Bitcoin to a level that I think it's going to shock everyone, man. I think it's going to absolutely shock everyone because you're not really thinking big enough. You're thinking in terms of overthrowing the Fed, but this is about arbitraging all the inefficiencies. if you can remove the fuel away from these monopolies, they will start to behave in a competitive manner, right? All you need is people competing with them, though. And let's figure out who's going to survive this. But everyone, whether it's a digital bank or an analog bank, we should all be on a level playing field.
The first thing that every Bitcoiner does, and the most important activity that every Bitcoiner keeps on doing, is buying Bitcoin. And I personally use Relai to buy and sometimes also spend or sell my Bitcoin. And there are two main reasons why I do so. The first one is it's Bitcoin only. They do not do any shit coins. They do not do any cryptos, any stocks, or anything else. This is a tool, an app that is fully focused only and solely on Bitcoin. The second one is self-custody. They give you the keys to your Bitcoin the moment you buy them. You never give them the control over your Bitcoin, and you don't have to trust them because you can verify that you and only you have the keys to your Bitcoin. There's no third-party risk. There's no freezing of your assets. There's no rug pulling. There's nothing of that. Download Relai, the app, on your phone, or go to relay.app on your browser and use code Robin to save fees and get cheaper Bitcoin. I want to tell you about something very special to me. It's called Microseed. If you hold your Bitcoin in self-custody, and you should, you know how critical it is to secure your seed phrase. You should not have them on paper. You should not have them on anything else than titanium. With Microseed, you can engrave your 12 or 24 word seed phrase, the entire seed phrase, onto a 1-inch small washer. Yes, just one washer. All 24 words on that one washer. You can hide that thing everywhere. And even better, you don't need to buy a new kit every time you have to get a new wallet. You can make unlimited backups because Microseed is not selling the washer. Microseed is selling the device that stamps the washer. So you get the full kit with the device, with the washers, with the hammer, with everything you need to get started today, and you can make with that unlimited amount of backups. Go now to microseed.io.
100. But I love that, and I'm so confused with. You said it like 2-3 times, SPR, so like the treasury companies. There is strategy, and I'm just really getting started with my research. I know, bad on me, I've been in Bitcoin so long and I haven't really researched. I had Saylor on my podcast and I haven't really researched strategy in a big way. I'm getting more and more bullish on that. Stretch is really interesting. I just came back from Miami, and I had the 2 earning calls and a bunch of other videos and research only on Stretch that I was diving into, like what that product actually is, because there's a lot of terms that I had no clue about when you research that thing. I found that really interesting. But then there's also, like, as we said before, as I quickly showed, MiCA and like all the other treasury companies. So there seems to be like strategy in their own sphere, and then there are all a bunch of other ones that just like is a money losing game, at least till now. Let's see what the future brings. How do you think about all your treasury companies, and then also how do you think about Stretch as a cash reserve, just as for Bitcoiners basically, instead of the cash reserves in US dollars in the bank account?
Well, if I was giving you advice, you're way too young for that Stretch product. The Stretch product we're talking about for the audience, STRC, pays an 11% yield every month. So you get a drop. Let's say you got $100,000 in there. You're going to get $11,000 a year. 11,000 divided by 12, you're going to get roughly $1,000 a month. Now, why would you want income? So you can spend it on dinners, or like, I don't know why anybody would do that at your age. You don't need income to go spend on fancy meals. You need more Bitcoin. So I would buy Bitcoin, and I would buy either the ETF or Bitcoin itself in self-custody, or on an exchange. I don't really care. Like, I'm not one of these guys that say you have to own it one way. I think you just own the damn thing. However that is easiest for you to do, depending on your circumstances, and as in many flavors as you can. But if the SBR, Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, or the treasury companies, or maybe a real estate play like my brother's doing, a hybrid of Bitcoin and real estate, his, by the way, does not pay cash dividends. It takes all the distributions from the apartment buildings and it moves that back into Bitcoin. Now, I love that program. I think that's good. I think the greatest return product is buying Bitcoin and not selling it, and then leaning and leveraging into it and borrowing against it at 5% or 6% or 7%. So, but my point is, Michael Saylor took a $7 billion business, maybe a $700 million business, and it's turned it into a $70, $80, $90 billion business in 4 years. I think it's an awesome strategy. I think he's done a great service for the industry. He's going to help. This 11% product is going to help rip the banks' heads off, their faces off their little 3% programs. But if it's good for a guy like Saylor and it's able to create $70 billion of value, why isn't it good for a family? This is where I get to my Bitcoin as a business. Bitcoin is the greatest franchise you can buy into that's not onerous, doesn't have a bunch of contracts, no NDA, no lockups, no maintenance on a building, no electricity contracts, no employees to have. Okay, a Popeye's Fried Chicken franchise costs $2.5 million. Or a McDonald's, $2.5 million, okay? I can buy Bitcoin for $90,000. In fact, I can buy $9,000 of Bitcoin and still have the same rights as a guy that's buying 100% of the Bitcoin. I don't get deemed to be an inferior tenant because one guy owns 500 Bitcoin. I only own half of a Bitcoin. I get to keep my day job, even if I hate it, but it generates revenue. And I started buying Bitcoin in the family Bitcoin reserve, the FBR. Give it a new name, okay? Will all sound sexy before it's done. And by the way, sexy is far more important than being rich, right? Not. So I got my FBR. If it's good for all these companies, why can't I just do the FBR? No time in history has a guy like me or you been able to invest in something at the same level that JP Morgan could invest in. He has no advantage over me with his billions. He's going to pay the same price of Bitcoin as I'm going to pay. My brother's going to pay the same price as I'm going to pay. Right? Well, I now have two businesses. I have the business that I'm doing. Let's say I'm an artist and I'm picking up some Bitcoin and I'm letting savings work for me. Right? And I don't know why I need another job. Right? I need more income, like you said. That's the key. More income is the key. More income fixes more issues than any other thing could fix. Just more income. Now, I don't want more income because I don't like paying taxes. I have enough income, so I don't want any more. I want more capital appreciation. I want my assets to be safe, secure, and I want them to grow. And I want to be able to wake up in 10 years and go, oh, wow, this was awesome. And by the way, I didn't have to work 18, 20-hour days. I actually was able to live my life and enjoy it, which is something that most older people don't do, by the way. They get to 60 years old and then they realize, oh, wow, I can't even ski anymore. I have $18 million, but I really don't want to go skiing because I can't handle it. I don't want to get off the couch. My knees are hurting. My back's hurting. This is a very common story for older people. They would grind their lives out and then they have nothing really to show for it. And that's really a shame. I'm able to turn Bitcoin into a family Bitcoin reserve business. I mean, a business, dude. What does that look like? if you're running the Robin Seyr podcast and you want to blow it up, the deal is, the key to blowing that business up is put a bunch of production together, do promotions, market yourself harder than anybody else does it, and then you grow, right? That's the way it usually happens. Well, if you have a Bitcoin business and you're not having to do another grind, you're not having to go out on dates to collect some more money after you've done your podcast, you're going to be able to be more productive because you can keep grinding on, like, I just need more income, man, if that's what I need to do. And I can change that. I can change how much energy I put into the universe to produce something. And then I can convert that to Bitcoin, which, by the way, there's whole corporations, MiCA Corporation. They're a miner for Bitcoin. They mine Bitcoin at somewhere between $112,000 and $130,000. I can mine Bitcoin right now for $90,000, for $95,000. I can go buy it on Coinbase for $95,000. Like, I think that's smart, dude. I don't need a mining center. I don't need a bunch of batteries. I don't need a bunch of long-term contracts. I don't need a whole team of people, a private jet with Mara on it and whatever they do and all their annual meetings and all that. Dude, I can just buy Bitcoin, just like Saylor has been telling you. It's cheaper to buy Bitcoin than to do anything else. And we're not early anymore, man. And we most certainly aren't late. And how do I know that? Well, because the rich people aren't here yet. The rich people are not here yet. The really rich people, okay? The old money is not come into the new money yet. And I think that's the transfer we're having. There's going to be $75 trillion in the next 10-ish years that move from wealthy boomers to young people. They're not going to buy silver, dude. Okay, that's not happening. That is not happening. Okay, they're not going to buy gold. They might buy the gold Rolex. I actually think that's probably done. But they are not going to hoard silver and gold. In a world that's going digital so fast, it's frightening. Jeff Bezos just today said that all his data centers are going to be in outer space. Okay, what do you think we're going to do? Ship fucking money back and forth between outer space data centers? No, we're not going to do that. You're going to digitize planet Earth, and you're going to digitize it because that's what's happening. This is evolution of technology. We're advancing as a civilization, just like we advanced from the stone wheel. You know, we don't use stone wheels anymore, man. They're not as fast as rubber wheels. The highways aren't built for stone wheels. Now, it doesn't make the stone wheel the worst thing in the world. It was a great invention at its time. But, you know, Fred Flintstone had some cool little ideas. They're not going to work here. The Jetsons is more likely to be our reality in the future than Fred Flintstone. So maybe we need a Jetson coin.
Jetson coin. What is Jetson?
You don't remember? See, you're so young, dude. The Jetsons, dude. The Jetsons was a cartoon. Some animated players. There was a dad, a wife, and they lived in the 27th century. And they flew around in flying automobile cars. You need to do a whole thing on the Jetsons, dude. It is where we're headed. I can't believe you don't know the Jetsons. There you go, man.
Is that the Jetsons?
It's the Jetsons. Yeah, man. What did the Jetsons predict? Go down there. What did the Jetsons predict on? People also ask. Predicted video calls, smartwatches, and chatbots. Okay, this is 1962. I was 8 years old, okay? Me and my brother would sit down on a cold floor and watch the Jetsons, and they're flying around, dude. Their suits are changed in vacuum centers. They had robots that made their food. Food popped out of a machine instantly because they thought about it. George had this cool little car. He would drop the kids off at school. All the school teachers were robots. Might want to play this theme song for the audience because it's really catchy. Can you believe we're doing this? This is awesome. Check this sound. It's a great music here.
I will get it rolling because I have to open it in a different browser to get the sound also going.
No problem.
That's some. I never heard that, Jetsons. Like literally, it's the first time I.
Yeah. But you know Fred Flintstone, though, right?
Of course, yeah. This one, yeah. I know, yeah.
Yeah. See, this is why people like my videos because I just keep it simple, man. I believe great teachers should tell stories, not try to sound brilliant. All right.
Here we go. Let's see if we can hear it.
Check it out.
Meet George Jetson.
That's amazing. I love that. That's really cool.
You have a young kid, don't you?
I don't know why this everyone thinks. I went on in Lugano. I went on stage, and Joe Nakamoto introduced me, and it was about like educating the younger generations. And he's like, "You're not younger generation. You have younger generation, right?" I'm like, "No." Like, I think maybe I said something wrong somewhere because most people think I'm kids. But I do want to have kids. But I'm not sure if as soon as possible is, I guess, always better.
Well, I don't know, dude. I had my first kid when I was 49. I don't think that. I think
wow, 49.
I don't think that's a rush. I think stack some Bitcoin, dude. Make sure they're going to be cool. You're not in a rush. Your girl might be in a rush, but you're most certainly not in a rush. It's a massive responsibility. If you're going to be a bad dad, like wait when you can afford not to be a bad dad. The reason I said though, if you had a kid, it'd be a fun thing for y'all to watch together. But I think actually they predicted quite a bit in this world of, this is 1962, man. So that's 60 years ago. Okay. That show was on, and we're talking about flying cars and robots, and there's digital assets there. I guarantee you'll see money moving digitally. My point is, how we got off on that is we're going digital. The entire planet is going digital. And if you can't see that, that is why people don't understand Bitcoin. Because they see the world through the analog eyes, but the analog world is highly inefficient in a rapidly moving universe, in a world that moves at speeds that we've never understood. You're in Europe somewhere, and I'm in Florida, and we're doing near mainstream media quality digital output here. If I would have told you we were doing this, that you could bring up a Jetsons from 1962 and give it to the audience with an instant click of a button for $20 a month, dude. Okay, that I can now go to Stanford and do an AI program for $0. That's deflation at the most extreme level you can imagine. That is deflation. Okay, your children and my children are going to get MBAs for nothing, for no money. Now, the school system completely gets broken. They will have no economic paradigm whatsoever, and I think that's awesome. But everybody keeps talking about inflation. I'm like, you guys are crazy, dude. We're not going to see inflation ever. We're never going to see $100 crude oil again. That is not happening, okay? Because we have something called technology now. And I actually think you'll see gold and silver in my lifetime alchemize, especially as the prices go up. People are going to go, like everybody said, you'd never break the diamond market. The diamond market for De Beers is completely broken. You're not paying $40,000 a carat anymore. That's not happening. What are they doing? They're going to laboratories, and you now can buy a Class A, ISV, whatever, however they qualify, as good a diamond as anybody could imagine. Oh, and by the way, the world's so fucking dangerous in Europe. Why would anybody wear a diamond outside anyway? And New York and California. So, oh, and another thing, I think all the rich people are so rich and they've got so many things, they're not even going to buy anything else. We have met max consumption. I keep bitching about this we're at max consumption. Even the most wealthy don't need anything else. I don't need any more t-shirts either. And the reason I don't need any more Rolexes, I don't need any more Bentleys, and I don't need any more t-shirts. I don't need anything else. We have too much already. So that leads you to Bitcoin real quick. It's like, wow, what don't I have? Oh, 21 million. 4 have been lost. Well, I don't have enough of that stuff, dude. At 42 years old, the consumption of a human being starts collapsing. 42 years old. Okay, this is a demographic statistic that never fails. 42 years old, you start spending less money. Okay, people don't like. They get tired of spending. They realize they have to work more. They get more conservative. They have some children. They own a house. At 50, you must certainly stop buying dumb shit. Most certainly. And I think we're going to see that, like I have a $230,000 Range Rover outside that is worth $140 today, 2 years old. It has a shitload of wind noise. Land Rover, you really screwed up. And I'll never buy another one of those cars, ever. In fact, I'll never probably buy another fancy car. Oops, right? So I think Tesla's new car is going to be what, 25 grand? If they didn't block China from doing business here, we'd have cars for 10, 15 grand. So deflation is most certainly coming here. You saw silver and gold both get clobbered yesterday when Trump came out and said, hey, we're done with Iran. There's no more killing needed. We're done here. Okay. We're not going to have a major war. We don't have major wars. We don't have major high prices on anything. And even the wars aren't going to make the prices go up for very long. So the whole system is breaking down. The whole analog old system is breaking down, and Bitcoin's just sitting there doing what it does with extremely small adoption, tiny adoption at this point. Only known to a few million people, really. And we're all a little too excited about our Bitcoin play. And we reverberate that in an echo chamber that sounds louder than it really is. But no one's in Bitcoin yet. Not really.
I say that actually multiple times on the podcast. We are so much into this small echo chamber community that we think that things actually matter in the world out there. And you just have to go out on the street and ask 200 people what they think about Bitcoin. And then you know how nobody has gotten it yet. We are so early in this, and we think we are bigger because we're in this like Bitcoin Twitter community, and you watch a podcast and it feels like everyone is talking about Bitcoin, but it's actually just like a few thousand very loud voices talking to each other constantly, and you're listening to them. And this makes you feel like Bitcoin is everything in the world. Then you realize, yeah, it's just 2 trillion, and like nobody, like there's a few already. Like we have now a little bit of like mainstream people. I mean, Saylor was maybe the first one that kind of got from the outside of Bitcoin world into Bitcoin. Grant Cardone also like is usually like referenced as like, okay, there's someone that was like really big in real estate now coming into Bitcoin. Like there's like some figures, small here and there, that now come into Bitcoin. But like I don't know, it's like almost nothing yet. So I always get frustrated when people think we're already bigger than we are and we're late and all of that. Like, you know, that's BS. Like we're not late. We're not late at all.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's early.
What do you actually make out of the situation where, like with Venezuela, Ukraine, Greenland, we have so many interesting kind of situations happening all at once? And I mean, the Greenland one, I saw there like a meme where on Greenland there's like all those small like village homes, and then there's like a big Trump Tower in the middle. Found it funny. What do you make out of all those geopolitical stuff that is going on? And is there Bitcoin at any point like relevant in that discussion, or has this anything to do with the geopolitical stuff? The most important thing for your Bitcoin journey is not buying Bitcoin, but it's how to keep them. And yes, you have maybe the right tools, but how do you actually go ahead and stick it all together so it's the most secure for you personally? Self-custody is a deeply personalized journey, and the Bitcoin way is helping you exactly finding that correct setup for you personally. They are also helping you with securing your own cybersecurity. And if you want to go one step above all that, you can even get a consultation for a Plan B residency. Go to thebitcoinway.com/Robin and you will get a 30-minute free consultation. I finally and officially mine Bitcoin. This is not just something to stack more Satoshis, but it's most importantly also to support the network. Individual miners are the ones that keep the Bitcoin network decentralized. And by the way, you get KYC free Bitcoin. That's why I use Simple Mining. I get an actual proper Bitcoin miner. They set it up for me. They repair it if it breaks down. And most importantly, they let me choose the pool and even connect my own full node. I'm completely sovereign and I'm completely in control, and I can sign up with Ocean, no account needed. I just give them a Bitcoin address and then there's mining going on. No KYC, nothing. So if you're ready to mine Bitcoin, go to simplemining.io, tell them you come from Robin, and let's mine Bitcoin together.
I think it's this is probably controversial, but to me this is not surprising. I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it. America will end up owning or controlling Greenland, Mexico, Canada, and all of South America. Once we went to a poly market or a polar market, a multiple market, right? We're not globalizing. We're not going to have one world order. We're going to have competition, which, by the way, I actually support. BRICS, get after it. The Eurozone, MENA, get after it, man. You guys should create your own markets, have your own pricing facilities, have your own way of scrubbing crude oil, nat gas, whatever, how you price things. I think competition is awesome. I believe open markets are awesome. It's what creates innovation, and what we need is less intervention. A lot less. We need less war intervention. We need a lot less intervention. I mean, it'd be cool if we could create a virus, a politician COVID-19 where they all just evaporated overnight. That'd be awesome. The world would run so much better without professional politicians. None of them, by the way, I think are good for Bitcoin. Okay, I saw the guy in New York talk about his new token, the New York token. This guy has no clue what he's talking about, okay? And by the way, I think his name is Eric. I don't know who he is, but he's a black, I think, mayor or something. He's going big on tokenization. He knows nothing. He is a parrot, just like every one of these politicians, they don't know anything about this stuff. They don't know anything about economics. They know nothing about banking. They're idiots. Okay. They're actually idiots, if not criminal. And it's all a show. It's all a show. There he is. Like, this guy is so embarrassing. Like, I would never, I don't know who pitched crypto to him, but I mean, it's so bad. And people are going to listen to this guy, right? He has no clue what he's talking about. So look, I think this is a resource play, Robin. If I controlled America, I would do the same thing. I most certainly cannot let someone else have Greenland. I cannot. So if we're moving to technology, a technology play, which I think we are, he who has the most energy will win the game. He who has the most energy has always won the game. He who has the most kinetic power controls everything. And in the future, natural gas, deep fossil fuel, big, lots of resources, metals, anything that has a resource attached to it, I think you're going to see countries go back to, hey, we need more resources that we control and we can optimize and we can make efficient. Under no conditions is Canada going to survive this game by themselves. Under no situation is Mexico going to survive by them. Greece is not going to survive by themselves. Now, Greece has a problem. It can't bifurcate its way. It can't remove itself from the Eurozone. It's so messed up. Like, it has very little choices. Italy, I think you're gonna see a multi-European zone where Poland just refuses to play by the rules. Ukraine does its own thing. Italy says, no, we're not funding this shit, dude. I want my gold back. I mean, the Italian minister's going, I want my gold back. Too fucking late, dude. You're not getting your gold back. That means everybody would have to get their gold back. Like, you prostituted yourself to the EU zone in a fake currency. And Norway didn't participate, Switzerland didn't participate, and the UK didn't participate. And Germany is broke beyond belief. Germany is broke beyond what 3 years ago I was like, Germany's going absolutely bankrupt. People thought I was crazy. I don't think Audi, BMW, or Mercedes makes it. How can you make it when you're paying 300-400% more for your energy than other car dealers, other car makers, right? And that all came through intervention on the pipelines that were blown up between Russia, the Ukraine, and Europe. These embargoes don't work, okay? I mean, they just make energy go around other loops. But it has absolutely slaughtered Europe. So I think all the, like, if you wanted to take over Europe, you could probably buy the whole thing for $1. Well, think about it, because there's so much to clean up. You need to get rid of 20 million people, and y'all have no resources, dude. There's no metals. There's no energy. There's only regulation that stops all progress. So if you look at the way this game's playing out, China does not have its own energy source. It builds 54 coal-fired power stations a year, one a week, 300 and 400 megawatt. They use more power than we do by triple, okay? But their power is extremely messed up. So I can see another 300 years for America's hegemony because of our play here. And I think Trump understands that. He is a resource guy. He understands, oh, wow, he who has the most marbles wins the game. So I think America's in an awesome, awesome position, and we don't have to go to war to do this. Now, people are going to say, well, yeah, you're bombing Venezuela. Hey, we're probably going to bomb Mexico too. Let's bomb it. I have a lady that works for me that's Mexican. She came over illegal. She's now legal. Her kid has been in private school because I pay her well, and her family does pretty decent. That's a cool story, right? Mexican illegal comes to America within 50 years. Her kid is going to private school. That's awesome. They're a productive member of America. Her viewpoint, bomb the fuck out of them, man. Get rid of the cartels. They're destroying America. I mean, that's 92% of all the drugs on this planet Americans consume. Okay, so most certainly hey, yeah, stop all the drugs coming in here. And people will say, well, stop the demand and the flow of drugs will stop. No, stop the supply of drugs. It will stop, okay? It will stop. So I just think this is very natural. People make a big deal. Oh, we're going to go take over Greenland. Greenland can't do this by themselves, the world we're headed into. Norway might be able to, okay? But even Norway, 50 years from now, Norway can't do this by themselves, man. The only thing that saved Norway is their location, and they have a lot of energy. And they've been able to remain somewhat neutral. In fact, so neutral, they were able to say the other day, hey, we're backing out of all Israeli investments because we don't like what we see going on. I thought that was cool, right? Where you see countries saying, hey, there's something going on here, and I'm sure this will cost me about 10,000 viewers. Your show will not show any because, I mean, I am literally getting hammered over this comment, but like it's either red, white, and blue, or it's blue and white. But at the center of every major problem on this planet, we have the red, white, and blue flag and a blue and white flag. And pick who the bad guy is, but it's one or both of us. And it's causing problems that are absolutely unnecessary for a very select small group of people, which I'm probably one of them, but I have no interest in being treated favorably and special. I don't want to be treated like let me compete, dude. And if I can't compete, then so be it for me and my family. But don't give some asshole a head start on me. That's not cool. And most certainly don't give some big corporation, because they're like Facebook, allowing them to do illegal things when we don't know they're sharing information with intelligence companies. This is not free market. This is a prison. And I don't want to live in a prison. I don't want my children to live in a prison. I don't want you to live in a prison. I want to live in a world where I get to compete and I get to eat what I created. And I get to do with what I created the way I want to do it without harming anybody else. I don't think we need to be hurting people.
Do you think that
Bitcoin really gets me in a position where I can look at investing in something that harms no one? I like that. Okay. If people look in their 401k, if they have a 401k, you are investing in companies that should discuss you. Okay. You're part of the problem. If you have an investment in Pfizer and Lilly, I think you're part of the problem. And Moderna. Now, I hope you go broke in those investments. That's what you should do. United Healthcare went down 48% in 1 month, okay? And I think they go down, okay? Because I think you're going to find so much fraud at United Health. It's crazy. Because once you get on what I learned from the energy space is once you do a deal that's naughty and it gets you out of a problem, the next time you have a problem, you most certainly will repeat the process. And that's what Enron did. Enron actually created the first crime 15 years before they went down. It was an oil trade that went bad. And they cooked the books, and it worked. 2 years go by, they have another problem. They're like, hey, what did we do on that other problem 2 years ago? That worked pretty good. Let's apply that on December the 30th. And it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. People who commit sins and crime continue to commit the sins and crime until they are stopped. Because it works for them. It's their operating method for solving problems. My operating method is buy as much fucking Bitcoin as I possibly can so I have fuck you money so I can actually say fuck you. Which, by the way, that message is for the 4,000 billionaires out there that are not saying fuck you. You have fuck you money and you're not saying fuck you. You're actually taking it up the ass and becoming part of the problem. I hate you guys. I despise you people. Okay. It's really awful what you're doing, that you're not taking more action, because we have so many billionaires today. We could stop the whole problem right now. Dude. We all just gangstered up and manned up and put a spine on our backs and actually said, hey, this is not cool. This is not cool. Okay. And it's not cool, man. You should have as equal right as me. No advantage, no disadvantage. It's just not cool. It really irritates me. And I'm really grateful that I have been able to like navigate, thread the needle and put myself in the 1% club. And people go, hey, why are you so excited about Bitcoin? Dude, I don't want to get out of this club. Like, once you're in it, it's comfortable here. That's a good reason, okay, to hoard Bitcoin. You want to be in the 1/10, the 1/5, the 1/2 of the 1%. You most certainly don't want to be at the bottom. Everything has a bell curve to it. You want to be on this end, total abject poverty or abject total stupid wealth. I can be more productive here. Okay, and I don't want to be in here, man. In here is nothing. It's just, you make no progress. You're just in the middle of mush. It's so hard to move. So anything anyone can do to get on the edges of the bell curve is very smart for your family. You have an obligation to do that, dude, for your family. You do. You have an obligation to do it. You're a man. What other role does a man have? Provide protection, safety, and security for my group, my club, my clan, my tribe. That is what a great leader does. He provides protection and security for his tribe. I don't know where all those men have gone, but like, that is my job, dude. Like, I didn't show up with a breast and a vagina. I showed up with a penis and like, this is my job. I'm never going to have babies. So what can I have? I can protect the babies. I can protect the club. I can give some direction. This is why I do the stuff I do on Spaces, because I'm like, hey, look, I have a message. It's a good message. And somewhere over the last 30 or 40 years, moms and dads stopped giving the proper messages. This is just learned stuff. I don't see any victims accomplishing anything. If grinders don't act like victims, you don't even ever hear them. Why? Because they're grinding, dude. They're grinding.
I think you might like that. I see not a lot of men in my generation. I'm Gen Z. Actually taking responsibility, working hard, and trying to provide for themselves plus other people. Like first you're gonna have to provide for yourself, and then you can provide for more people. And I'm always debating that internally, but I'm not sure if I'm thankful for that or if it's sad, because on the one hand, it's super easy now if you're a man in my generation who takes responsibility, grinds, and wants to really provide for other people, because you're one of so few that actually want to do that. And I don't know if it's just like a subjective thing, but like I feel like in previous generations, this was more of the case. You had more men to compete with you, where they really wanted to grind and protect and provide for their family. And now it seems like, no, I want to be an equal partner with my wife, and like all that soft shit. And then I'm not sure if I should be sad for my generation or should be almost thankful for the opportunity to be one of very few in my generation.
That's the way I would look at it. I would have no empathy. Empathy is not going to accomplish anything. Hard. Like, look, I was on a space last night, and I was doing something else. I was painting, So I was actually doing something while I'm listening to these jokers. And, you know, I see a multi-millionaire, maybe a guy that's worth $100 million, talking to a guy that has $1,000 to invest. And I'm like, bro, you should invest $1,000 in some books and get your mentor. You should not be buying Bitcoin. And furthermore, you shouldn't even be on this space. You're hiding, you're lazy, you're hiding, you're accomplishing absolutely nothing here. I don't see anybody making a shitload of money running spaces, and he wasn't even running the show. Well, that really irritated quite a few people. But the truth is, look, one of my superpowers has been understanding that attrition is a real thing. And by attrition, I mean all the people that you compete with, and you do compete with people. For sure you do. Everyone competes with, dude, I want competition the least possible. Of course I do. Now, I love competition. It fuels me. But I learned early on, oh, wow, people get greedy. They make mistakes. They go out. They decide to go out on their own. Then they blow themselves up. They forget the platform that they're on is offering them ability to flex their muscles. I made it for 20 years without blowing myself up, and I watched people do stupid shit around me, dude. And Gary just kept fucking coasting. So you should be happy because look, there's 8 billion people on the planet, and you're going to find that 7.5 of them, they don't have a leadership bone in their body. It's okay. Okay, that's part of the bell curve too. Not everyone is going to be a leader, and most certainly you're not going to be a leader on day one when you haven't followed anyone. Okay, but just sitting on spaces and listening to people. I mean, I'm listening to people. I'm surveying people. Like I am literally thinking, hey, what are these guys doing? How do they think about things? And then when I realized, hey, I need to buy another 200 or 300 Bitcoin, I disconnect from those spaces and I'm grinding it out. I'm not sitting around. Like everything I do, I'm looking at, is this a productive use of my time? Is this a productive use of my time? If it's not, I call it lazy. Okay. I call it being a kid. And I have this really, you know, I like being an 8-year-old. I'm a bit of a little, you know, fun jokester kind of guy, the jester. But when it comes to like doing something serious, like, hey, my job is to protect my community. They don't have to like me. But when shit hits the fan, I will get that phone call. They'll be like, oh, let's call the guy that we don't like, right? Like we don't like it when he says these things to us, but you would call me. You'd be like, okay, I know Gary's serious. Gary might joke around, but and put it in really simple terms, but Gary can move. And this is who you're going to be attracted to. Productive people are going to be attracted to people like this. They're problem solvers. Like I love being known as a fixer. I am. I'm a fixer, dude. Bring me a problem and I'll fix it. Bring me a really big problem and we'll fix it and make a shitload of money. But don't bring me a bunch of dumb stuff. I'm not going to even be interested in it, right? So you got to find your sweet spot. You're finding your sweet spot. And these other guys, dude, doing whatever they're doing. I mean, you can't save them. Their mothers and fathers let them down. This is a problem, okay? Like if you had bad parenting, you might just be fucked. When people are nasty to me online, I have learned a great way to deal with it. Can you please give me your mother's phone number? Because I want to call her and let her know that she really did a shitty job. It ends the entire conversation. Can I have your dad's phone number? I just want to let him know what an ass you are, dude. And that he really should have beat you more, okay? He should have put your ass to work. If my kids behave that way to you, I would be abhorred, man. I would be like, oh my God, Where did we go wrong? And this is a problem with humanity right now. They did not have good parents. My mom beat the shit out of me and my brother, dude. And we deserved every one of those beatings. They scared us. They made us feel a little guilty and shameful for not competing, not pulling our own weight, not carrying our own. I can't imagine thinking about, oh, I need the government to pay a Social Security number. I've never expected the government to pay my Social Security out, dude. I've never expected that money to show up here. And by the way, when it does, I will give it away to someone. I'm not taking the money from the government. That's a pussy move. I have always said, I don't need money from the government, dude. That's a powerful position, right? I don't want their money. I don't want the money that everybody else is going to take. I'm different. I'm a man. I don't need that money. I can pull my own weight. It's a very powerful mental mindset. Instead of thinking, oh, wow, my 401k is going to be there for me. You have to assume none of that's going to be there. See, Americans are so spoiled because they don't remember any wars whatsoever. We've never had any real, at least you will remember going to your grandparents' house. Oh, shit, dude. Okay. People are talking about right now, I can't make a living. I'm like, really? Well, how many hours did you work last week? Under 40. Well, of course you're not making a living, dude. Get to 100 and let me know how you're doing. You do 100 hours a week and you can't possibly go broke.
Love that.
Ooh, 100 hours a week. Oh my God, how draconian. Well, I know some of your grandparents worked every minute of the day because they were in prison or they were dead or they got their arm blown off in a war. I mean, really, their legs blown off. Seriously, we have it very, very easy, dude.
I think people think they have a hard life because they spend too much time playing video games, watching stupid shows on Netflix, eating junk food while doing. I was literally, I just told you, just came back from Miami. I sat next to a guy that was playing games that I thought he's playing for his kids. I think he was at least 10, 20 years older than me. And he behaved like he was 10 years old, ate sugar the whole time, had his game. And when he was not playing his game, he would turn around his phone and watch some animated things that I don't even know what it was. And then I was sitting next to him and watching the conference calls of strategy to figure out why stretch is such a big deal right now for Bitcoiners. And I don't know, like, of course it's just like one guy, but like I think people spend so much time with stupid stuff and then complain that they don't have time to build things. And I'm like, yeah, like every time someone asks me like, oh, like how do you find the time to do all that thing? And I'm like, I don't think I'm doing a lot. I think I can do a lot more. Like I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, yeah, like here, like I could have worked so much more. I'm finding time to go to the gym. I'm finding time to do all those things. And I feel like someone asked me like, oh, like why are you so hardworking? I'm like, I think I'm not hardworking just because I'm doing a podcast a day. Like that's not hard work. It's just like that's easy. Like you jump on a call, you like have a conversation, some post-production, put it out there. Like a once a day podcast is a part-time job. That's not hard. I'm trying to do hard shit with like Microseed and doing other things behind the scenes that I'm like trying to get off the ground. But like just a podcast is not hard work. It's like you spend too much time doing stupid shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I think some of these can be great businesses for people. I mean, the way Melker does it, it's a business, right? And the way you started doing it, look, when you start anything, you realize, okay, is this what I want to do for my whole life? Is this my skill base? What else can I do? You're discovering, that's cool. I mean, but you're consistently doing things. Now, when you pull away from it and you stop, someone's going to fill your gap. The key to this kind of game is consistency. It's like all you got to do is show up. And this is why I get irritated with younger people when they say, hey, I can't do what you're doing. I'm like, if you open up a space and you just talk about you being an idiot and not knowing what to do, and you did it every day and you were authentic, you would have a following. There's 7 billion people walking around, and all you need is a very tiny fraction of them to be a little bit like you, where they'll follow you. I mean, if my ego was situated, I could have millions of people follow me. I just don't. My ego is not situated where I need a lot of people looking at me and talking about me. And I don't need it, right? I don't. But as an educational platform, see, this is where I get excited, because I'm like, hey, I can use this tool to help educate people, which is, we came on here to talk about Bitcoin, but I think we've talked all we need about Bitcoin. Now, the other stuff is so important. It's the discipline. It's the, hey, what am I here for? And everybody wants to work for themselves. I'm like, well, have you ever worked for a genius? No. Why don't you go work for a genius first, man? I don't know why people want to work for themselves. Everybody wants to work for themselves at the age of 17. It's like my daughter said, I'm like, hey, you might want to learn from a master first. I spent 17 years getting really rich, working for another company. Nobody talks about that. They want to talk about all the stuff I built. And I'm like, I worked for a company for 17 years that gave me a tremendous foundation that I still use today. My brother couldn't have done what he did in my field. It was too big, man. You can't do it by yourself. So there's just so many opportunities, and I hear only people complaining about the lack of opportunities, and it's usually the people in your age band. 25 to 35, 37, 40, everyone's complaining. I'm like, wow, I see nothing but opportunities. I mean, nothing but opportunities.
I fully agree. Like, there's a lot of, the more you make, the more opportunities that you actually see. Like, just like, I don't, like, I have not reached a lot. Like, I'm like super young. I have no life experience. Like, like this, my life experience is basically 2 years, the last 2 years what I did. But just seeing from the 2 years ago to now, the opportunities and the things that I could think of doing, I choose not to do them because I want to stay laser focused on what I'm doing right now, is tremendous. And when I was employed, I mean, I learned a lot. Like, I was working basically for the CEO of that business, had like 15, 20 employees. I worked for him for like 6 years, and I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot how he ran a business. It was a business that was growing fast. It was a good one in the IT security space, which I was just not really excited about IT security. But I learned a lot of like how to do business, how to do sales. I worked in sales for like 3-4 years there. And this was really cool for me. But then seeing the opportunities when you're like a little bit more like wide opened, because like when you're I don't know, like it was for me like that. When I wasn't employed, I was very focused on like doing this only, and I was not seeing all the opportunities was around me. I was like kind of blind to that. I don't know how you think about that.
Yeah, listen, I think the last time we did an interview, maybe a year ago, I would bet that all the opportunities you've seen in the last year are much bigger than what you were imagining would happen a year ago when we last met.
100%.
Action leads to more action. And if you see people, like I have become a really good observer of humanity. And I think it's an oftentimes unused skill. Everyone wants to observe themselves and how great they are, but like I think observing humanity is really a lot to teach me, at least. And one of the things I've noticed is a very simple observation. which I find simple is key. I don't need more important sounding people around me. I don't care if they are important. I don't need more important sounding people. I need more simple lessons that I can actually take to the marketplace and use. When I hear victims, when I hear people talking about being a victim, I normally see a very low action person. Okay, so victims seem to have low action, and people that do things seem to have high action. Well, gosh, maybe I need to move into action. I'm just saying, it does seem to be a high correlation between those who act, get and receive, and those who do not act, bitch, and act like victims and blame other people. No time in history. I had somebody arguing with me the other day about inflation was coming. I mean, they were arguing, they were silver and gold people. In fact, it was on that debate thing I do from time to time. It was with all the oil and the gold and silver people, well-known gold and silver people. And Daniele Cambone, who's in Canada, I said, hey, let me ask you a question. What did your MBA cost you? They all had MBAs, right? They all had MBAs. I don't have one. I think that's hilarious. And she's like, well, it cost me 80 grand. And my answer was, wow, an MBA cost 80 grand in the 90s or 2000. You didn't go to a good school. I literally said that. A real MBA from Harvard is going to cost you $500,000. Today, I can buy that same MBA for nothing. I can go on YouTube. I can go at Stanford. I can plug my nose into all kinds of programs. I can get an MBA for zero? Yep. But that's not inflation. Not even close. So today, someone with an IQ of 98 and no rich dad and no rich inheritance gets to compete with a guy that's got the same IQ and he's got a bunch of rich family members. I think you're living in the greatest time in history. And I see more people complaining. I'm like, wow, man, why are you complaining? Now, the guy that was complaining last night, he was in the UK. He said, you don't understand. I'm in the UK. And I'm like, bro, I understand. You need to get the fuck out of the UK. Like, just because you were born somewhere does not mean you have to stay there forever and ever. This is a choice you're making. And by the way, they're turning that country into a prison. If I'm a man and I have family there, I have an obligation to get them to safety. What are you doing? Just because you were born there does not mean you have to. Where am I going to go, man? Dude, that's not my problem. Go to some third world country where it costs nothing to live and you have Wi-Fi. Like, I didn't live there. I won't even go to the UK anymore. So, because it's so scary. So, if you live in Australia, leave, man. Like, you're not going to survive in Australia. So, if you're not willing to do that, then you're just going to sit around and do nothing. I've lived in 20 different homes, countries all over the place, been on missions, not seeing my kids for weeks at a time. Been on missions that I was terrified of, doing stuff that was making me stronger because I was doing shit, man. I was, getting phone calls from my boss. Hey, man, you offended this guy. Oh, okay, I'll try not to do that again. Stirring the pot up. And if you don't want to stir the pot up, you're not going to stir the pot up. If you don't go to Hollywood and get and do a screen acting play, you're never going to become a Brad Pitt. I mean, these guys surrendered a lot. All these actors surrendered a lot of stuff, They paid their dues. So I don't think it's complicated. Action is senior to thinking about stuff. And action makes me more confident. Thanks, Bobby. After I started, the more Bitcoin I bought, the more confident I got. Right? I began to understand it more. But But it's the way I learn. I can't learn from theory. Theory is really, I need to learn by doing, like picking something up and actually doing it and being involved. I'm going to Naples this weekend. I don't really want to go to Naples. It's 2.5 hour drive for me. One, I committed to it, and I have a rule: when I commit to something, I do it, just like I did with you. And two, it'll be good for me to get around some people that, you know, it'll be good for me to, because I don't know what's out there, right? But sometimes I do things that I don't want to do. I just commit to them because it creates more action.
You should come to Naples, Italy. There is where pizza comes from. Freaking nice place.
Yeah, I would go to Italy, but I most certainly won't go to the UK right now. I've been so harsh on their politics. I understand they're telling people they can't come now from America because of our social media, and I'm guarantee I'm on the list.
Well, it's crazy what's going on in the UK. I don't even like. I try not to pay attention because I'm like, okay, I'm not in the UK. I don't want to go there right now. But like everything I hear is like that's crazy. Like it sounds so crazy, as if everything was made up. Like, but apparently it's true. So it's let's not go to the UK. I have, as you know, and I think we are at the end of the time already. But as you know, we have an end routine in the podcast where the previous guest is asking a question for the next guest without knowing who the next guest actually is. And the previous guest asked you, from a philosophical lens, what is the greatest benefit of Bitcoin?
Well, I think one of the cool things about Bitcoin is it allows me to think philosophically because I'm not having to do dumb things like sign NDAs and have lawyers look over agreements. This is one of the great benefits to Bitcoin I really love. I do not like signing agreements I don't understand. And by the way, no one understands the agreements they sign. Okay, that's why you hire a lawyer. But the funny thing is the lawyer really doesn't understand it either. And he's not indemnifying you on his knowledge whatsoever. He's just like, yeah, it looks okay. But if one comma is missing, like I hear people talking about investing $500 and $1,000. I never invest $500,000 in anything other than books and art and things that I can do. I invest large sums of money that if I make a mistake, it's going to be crippling. That's the way you should think about investing is, hey, if I make a mistake, this is a really big mistake. Whereas $500 investment, you know, and I know there isn't a person on the planet that if you lose $500, you can't replace it. That's why so many people lose $500 on trading, because they could, and they went into it going, well, I can afford to lose this. You should go into it saying, no, dude, this is a $50,000 investment. I cannot afford to lose it. Now you'll understand why people like Bitcoin. Because one, it allows me to be wrong on the timing without punishing me. Because if I hold it for 4 years, I know it's going to be cool. Like zero chance of it not being cool. Two, we started this show going, hey, a 20 or 30% retracement off the top allows me to just go, I'm buying Bitcoin right here, dude. I'm buying. That's always been a good investment. And then I don't have to deal with lawyers and HR people and human beings. I now get to think about, what is Gary going to study today? Am I going to write? Am I going to read a book by Carl Jung? Am I going to create something new? Am I going to help some of the companies that I have investments in do something bigger? Am I going to bring my brother to see Michael Saylor so I can get him on the Bitcoin train? I know that's going to take a long time, that goofball. So Bitcoin is a business, and I really do believe it is better than any business I've ever built in my life. I have no people. This has been the problem. It's always been the problem. It's the people, man. Okay. Like I can't get people that think like me. Now, oh, by the way, every business I've ever created took me 12 years to leave. 12 years, man. First one took 17. I end up with NDAs and non-competes for years after that. If the company goes bad, I end up in a courtroom, whether I sold or not. I will end up in a courtroom, at least on depositions. None of that's going to happen. I will never have an HR department in my Bitcoin reservism. And by the way, this will be bigger. This business will be bigger than any other business I created. That's staggering, dude. Okay, I've exited $300 million businesses. This will be bigger, and I'll keep it all. Wow, that is awesome, dude. I need an accountant. And by the way, I fixed the accounting problem because I have Node 40, which is awesome technology that can tell any tax man he's full of shit. Okay, I can defend myself against any tax authority on the planet with Node 40 software. So philosophically, the biggest challenge I'm going to have philosophically is the free time I have and what I do with it. Do I use it to become a whore, or do I use it as a valuable use of my time and go, wow, man, I can learn things. Like last week, I went to a museum for the first time, like by myself, and I enjoyed it. And wow, is that good for me? I never did that when I was building my careers, dude. I was too busy. I've never been on a holiday by myself. Been all over the world doing missions and kicking ass, but never anything for myself. So there's a lot of stuff I haven't studied and read to be able to have an investment that's going to multiply, I think, at 25 to 30% over a long period of time. And it doesn't require me to constantly run up this escalator that keeps the game, the hurdle rate keeps changing. And the time to get to the end of the race keeps extending. Regulations get bigger, or taxes get bigger, and it makes my game, the journey longer. When Bitcoin, I can just sit here, and the biggest challenge is, how am I going to use the time that I've been wasting on dumb things? And that, to me, is the discipline part. It's what now? What am I going to do? So yeah, it's a great question. I don't know that for your audience and the age of your audience, y'all shouldn't be worried about philosophical shit. You should be worried about getting rich. And that does not mean monetarily. It means you don't know how much money I'm worth, dude. If you ended up with a problem one day, you're probably going to think of me and go, hey, I'm going to call Gary. I know he'll tell me the truth. That's the real value that I have. Okay. I'm probably a lot richer than most people think I am. Who cares? I hope I am richer than I pretend to be. But who cares, dude? Am I a good human being, right? Can I help someone? I know rich people that can't even talk to someone, okay? They have no time. They have no interest. They don't have a solution for anyone. So the cool thing about Bitcoin, I get to invest in Bitcoin and not worry about who the shareholders are. I don't have to worry about what product they're not selling or selling. That to me is important, because I don't invest in big pharma. Okay, I could never invest in Lilly. They're a bad company. I could not invest in Coca-Cola. I could never be Warren Buffett. He'll invest in anything. He does not care how poisonous the food is. I can't invest in McDonald's, dude. They're poisoning children. Come on, please. So money's not that important to me. Like, if money's that important to you, you should not listen to this thing. This is not, like, I zero interest in being that rich. I don't want to be Oprah Winfrey and blaming the obese gene on me being fat my whole life. Come on, that's bullshit, dude. She's doing damage to young people. So it has never failed me to work hard and just do action. That has always been productive. And I think sometimes Bitcoin, especially people that bought a bunch of Bitcoin early on, they have this devil they have to dance with, which is, I have too much free time on my hands. And that's also being broke. Okay. If you have too much free time on your hand, you're not doing things, like, why? And I don't know the answer to that why. I know it hits me all the time. I'm like, oh, wow, I have 3 hours freed up. I don't have to go to any meetings. Now, what am I going to do? Go take a nap, or should I pick up a canvas and do something I've never done before? Push myself a little bit and learn something about Gary. That's awesome. So that's my answer, man. Well, what do you think? I mean,
I strongly believe also with the more when it comes to like the benefits of Bitcoin, I have like 3 different frameworks that I think about. The first one is just like the wealthy part of like you getting over long periods of time, if you put more into it and be disciplined with that and stay long term and don't be fancy with trading it, you will get wealthier with that thing, just not over the short term. Then the second thing is the freedom aspect. So like you can say like, hey, like if a bank freezes your assets, with like a lot of people have gone through that, like this doesn't happen with Bitcoin. Like they cannot freeze your assets. I can transfer you right now like whatever amount of Bitcoin and nobody can stop me. If I know your address, not even you can stop me from transferring you money, which is just like the freedom aspect. Then the third aspect is the community aspect. I think there's a lot of great people in Bitcoin, and think about all the amazing people that will still come to Bitcoin, and knowing all those amazing people will likely benefit you in the future. And so like attaching yourself to conferences, to meetups, to like the Bitcoin social layer might be a potential like really good thing in the future for you. And so like this is like the underlying like benefits I see from you having Bitcoin. But also above that is the thing where you say like, what are the indirect benefits from having Bitcoin? Like having more time when you get wealthier. What are like the indirect things that you get from Bitcoin? A lower time preference, maybe less buying shit thing, because now you measure everything against Bitcoin and you're like, oh, I can buy now a new phone, but hey, my old phone, I still have an iPhone 11. My old phone still works, does everything I need. Why do I need a fancy new like iPhone 17 Pro in orange because like it looks like Bitcoin like that? You don't need that. If you can afford it, like get it, but like why do I need that? Like I don't need that. Maybe if I'm upgrading to like iPhone 13 for like $300, but not to like a iPhone 17 Pro for like $1,300. Like there's like $1,000 that I just don't need to spend. And so there's like those like indirect benefits I get from Bitcoin, which is really fun to talk about with so many different guests. But yeah, thank you so much, Gary, for being on again. And I think 4th time now that you have been on my show, if I counted right. It's always good with guests if I cannot count how many times they've already been on. It's usually a sign that I really enjoyed the guest, and thank you so much for spending time with me.
Thank you, buddy. You're an awesome guy. Appreciate you. Have a great week. Thank you for having me on.
And also thank you so much for everyone that is watching and listening, for joining us today. As always, I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Bye-bye. This content is for educational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute financial advice.